flying.
So was that week 10 or week 11? All right, that was week 10. Like every time I get mixed up right at the beginning of the shows. What's up, everybody? Happy Victory Monday to all those winning teams out there.
Oh,
and you know what? My team won. My team won the season series against the Washington Commanders. Banks were closed on Terry McLaurin.
Congrats, man.
Congrats, Alex. Okay. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Huge Victory Monday. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, please make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button. And our Apple Podcasts and Spotify listeners, you know what to do. Drop those ratings. It's another Monday, and that means Kenny McAndrews is here. What's up, baby? How was the weekend? How was your week? What's up?
Dude, you better enjoy this Victory Monday because I don't know how many you're going to get the rest of this year and maybe even into next year. So just remember what it feels like. Stay humble. Enjoy it. Take it in because you're not going to get many of them, man. But hey, a win's a win. Let's go.
A win is a win. We got 3 games that Kenny wants to cover today. Starting off with the Detroit Lions in a Jared Goff shocking performance, but defense is able to prevail. Again, we saw the big speech from Dan Campbell. Big win at home for the Lions, moving to 8-2. Again, we touched on it last week. This team is still far and away from the Eagles on top of this NFC. But I swear it's a good win. 8-2, 31-26 at home against the Bears. But again, if you're a Lions fan, I got to be scared. There's zero reason that this game against the Justin Field Bears at home should have been that close. What do you got, Kenny?
So, I think there's a couple of different ways to look at this, right? Obviously, if you're a Lions fan, you would prefer them to take care of business in a game like this. But I think you can find positives in a win like this. I mean, when it's all said and done, this is a game that they had absolutely no business winning. I think the Bears had, in 60 minutes of total time of possession, the Bears had the ball for 40 minutes, and I think Jared Goff threw 3 picks. It's borderline impossible for the Lions to end up winning that game, and they did. So I think you can take something away from that. Yeah, it was ugly, but hey, man, when you win the games that you're probably supposed to lose, that's just a good omen for sort of, what kind of team you are and how you handle adversity. And I'll say this, I said last week that I still look at them as a clear step below the Eagles. And again, not disrespecting them in any way. It's just I'm not going to bed fearing the Lions. I'm starting to get a little scared, just a bit. Look, their offense, their defense is going to be their kryptonite. I think any game against them is just going to be, it's always going to be a shootout here. But the one aspect of their offense that is starting to freak me out a little bit, dude. They were already humming. If Jameson Williams continues to play the way that he's been playing throughout the rest of the season, I mean, it's going to make this team literally impossible to defend. He had a really slow start. He was, I think, suspended for gambling. Came back week 3 or 4. And even last year, when he came back from injury, he had a bunch of really, really bad drops. He was in the quote unquote bust territory. And then the last couple of weeks, man, his entire mindset's changed. He had a touchdown last week that was called back because of a penalty. You remember that David Montgomery awesome TD run? He had a killer block that essentially sprung him, I think, with 30 yards to go. And Dan Campbell has said he feels like he's one of the guys. His confidence has skyrocketed in the last couple of weeks, and when confidence matches the talent that he so clearly has, it just makes this offense that much more scary. And if he's playing at a level that he's capable of playing, it's impossible to stop this team. So again, I still like where my Eagles are at, and we can talk about them in a bit ahead of the Monday Night Football game tonight. But even in a really ugly 31-26 win against the Bears at home, that again they should have handled a lot differently. I think if you're a Lions fan, you can just sort of exhale. Be thankful you won a game you should have lost, and know that the upside of your offense is literally through the roof if Jameson Williams continues the ball.
Well, the upside for the Moonshot Discord yesterday was that plus 330 catch with Jameson Williams. So there you go. You got your guy in the touchdown there.
Dude, we needed that one too, man. It was an ugly first half of the day, and then Jameson Williams catches his yards and a tutty late 1 o'clock slate. I thought he might backdoor a second one too. I'll be honest. I was watching the last drive, praying for it.
Honestly, and you kind of changed my perspective too about this win for the Lions, because I was hating a little bit just how it looked. But you do have to get the gritty wins, and we were highlighting that about the Eagles, so I do have to give them their props for that. I am sick for Justin Fields because he came to Motown and showed his ass. He played a hell of a game. I think it was damn near 300 total yards. People on Twitter were saying he was killing them with his legs last year. I looked at it, didn't play it. He did have another 100-yard rushing game. I think the one play I liked the most when it was the first half, They had DJ Moore in skinny post. He missed it, overthrew it. Second half, third quarter, it was an extremely clutch play. Steps up in the pocket, avoids Aiden Hutchinson, hits DJ Moore again. I think the same exact play on the button, perfect pass.
That was a dime.
It was. I'm sick he couldn't get that dub, but at the same time, like, I do have to look at it differently for the Lions because it's so easy to be deflated in a game like this. What the fuck was Jared Goff looking at? Like, even the whole team, there's a point, the first one was bad, the second one was bad, and then, like, there's a third one. I feel like the whole team, like, they didn't do it, but it's so easy to be like, all right, like, what the fuck? Like, Justin Fields is hooping, my guy can't see the field. Like, what is going on here?
And dude, if you're a Bears fan, isn't this a win-win? Like, your franchise quarterback looked great. I mean, with all the weird doubt about what the future of this team and Fields came back after injury and did everything he needed to do for them to win this game. And the tank is still on. You still maintain your immaculate draft positioning. If the season ended right now, they would have the first pick from the Panthers. They would have the fourth pick. I don't think Bears fans want to win this game, and it generally looks like Eberflus is playing to lose. Like the way in which he coached this game with the lead, like the only logic I can think of is ownership says we want to lose games for better draft positioning because otherwise there's no excuses for what he did to Justin Fields in the second half. So Fields look great. Bears fans, things are looking up. You're going to have a bunch of picks next year, and I don't know. I still think Fields is the guy, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the defense as well before we move on. I just got to say, like, Aiden Hutchinson was an absolute dog yesterday. And Dan Campbell gave him, like, the light. You know, you think about a young guy on this team that's now taking on a big leadership role. Just seeing him in the locker room before the press conference and all that kind of stuff, just talking with the team and the leadership. And he's like, 1 week at a time. Well, I feel really special about this. I feel really good about this 1 week at a time. And it's just like, win on three, win on me. 1, 2, 3, win. Like, I like
going on in Motown.
There's something going on. I mean, it's like, hey, something's going on in Detroit right now at 8-2. But a solid win there. Like you said, sloppy win, ugly win. Now, before we get into this Packers and Chargers game and that shit show of Brandon Staley's coaching career in Los Angeles, I want to touch on first quickly the George Kittle. Again, you know how to find these tight ends in these correct spots. Dalton Kincaid, I tweeted at you last week, like just an ugly way after a good first half of that Monday night game, and then like just missed it again this week. But George Kittle, this is now back-to-back weeks. You find guys that can go on stretches, and these are two separate guys that have now gone on streaks of catching this plus, I think plus 600 at 25 plus yards in both halves. Nice catch there, Kenny.
Again, George Kittle, friend of the program, did it back-to-back weeks.
Friend.
I really think like it's about finding these guys that are just in a great rhythm right now. I mean, Kittle has done this now sweat-free back-to-back weeks. I mean, he cashed this like 2 minutes into the third quarter. Didn't even have to worry about it. So look, man, it's been an up and down year betting the NFL for sure, but this market is just one that we're having a lot of fun with, and I believe in the value. I think you're getting way too much juice for guys that do things in both halves, and we should have hit a second one. We'll get into the Jerry Jeudy 30 each half. That's one that might be the grossest L I've taken this year, just in terms of the way that it unfolded. We'll get to that game in a bit because that one hurt. But shout out to George Kittle. Shout out to George Kittle.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of that, just touch on a little bit of BD and this and these live NBA props. I know we obviously know it's a football show, we're going over a reaction show, but got to touch on this streak and what's going on in the moonshot so everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me just give him some shout here. Before we got on the show, I said, dude, give me a minute to just talk about BD because I'm legitimately speechless by the run that this guy is on. Look, he's a Philly guy through and through. We're trying to grow his following. We just got him over 2,000 followers, so go follow him at BD215. We'll put that. Dude, he is dialed in with NBA live bets right now. Like the NBA is just it's a weird league. It's very volatile. Coaches do stuff that makes you want to pull your hair out, and it can be a frustrating league to bet on. And I think you're getting some really generous live lines for certain players at half. And for whatever reason, man, BD just has a knack for finding the juice because he continues to get guys that are halfway to their total at these ridiculous odds, and he has just been pumping out wins. So like if it wasn't for him, I'd be poor right now because the amount of money he's made me the last 2 weeks has been unbelievable. So just I had to give him love. Shout out to BD. keeping the Mooney gang well fed, and go follow him on Twitter, man, because he's probably the most slept on capper in the game right now. He's that good.
We've seen some tweets on it as well, trying to shout out your guys. Love the loyalty there from the Moonshot and the founder, Kenny McAndrews. All right, let's move on to the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. We saw some Lambeau leaps, a bunch of them yesterday, in the big win at Lambeau Field, 23-20 over the Chargers. Again, we talk about one-score games. I said the goddamn stat last week. Now make it 5 of their 6 losses in one-score games. The Chargers they still cannot figure out a way. Kenny had a great tweet. I mean, just a great quote from last week's show. A terrible way to start this Justin Herbert era of the Chargers. And here we are now, 4-6. Staley is on the brink of getting out of this beautiful state of California and Los Angeles. But a terrible loss here, a game that the Chargers needed to have, had to have, and could not get. 23-20 over the Chargers for the Packers at Lambeau Field and Jordan Love. What do you got, Kenny?
It's bad. It's if you're a Chargers fan, like I don't know what fan base can be more frustrated than Chargers fans, I would say, over the last 5 to 10 years. I think maybe for a bit that there is an argument for Atlanta Falcons fans, and just that Super Bowl L alone was enough to like put you into depression for a couple of years. I think Chargers fans officially may have a bigger gripe here. Now, granted, there aren't many Chargers fans. Even their home games are like home games for the other team. But dude, this is bad. I don't know how Staley still has a job. I know that the Chargers ownership is just so cheap, and it's going to cost them a lot of money for them to fire him midseason. But at some point, man, he's got to go. The locker room clearly is gone. Nobody believes in him, and he's a loser. When you have a loser coach, that loser DNA just bleeds into your team, and now you have a team of losers that's 4-6 that has, again, probably talent-wise, a top 6 roster in the NFL, and they just can't find ways to win close games. I think 5 losses by 3 points or less. Now you can make excuses. This guy's been hurt. Eckler is banged up. Mike Williams on IR. Palmer on IR. I get it, but at some point, man, you have to just find ways to beat the Green Bay Packers in a game that you have to have in the middle of the season. So it's just the years that they're dead. They're 4-6. I think their live odds to make the playoffs are like plus 350. I think even that's generous. Like there's just I don't see a path to them in any way. It's tough. And I was listening to a part of my take this morning. They called it early onset Rivers. I don't know a better way to describe what's happening with Herbert here. And you gotta feel bad. I mean, this loss isn't on him by any stretch. That Quentin Johnson drop was disgusting. Keenan Allen dropped the touchdown. Eckler fumbled, I think, on the 2-yard line. I mean, the dude did everything he needed to do for them to win this game, but the defense didn't step up. And again, you finally saw this bubbled up frustration when he spiked that ball after, I think it was like a delay of game penalty or something. It's just he's officially had it. And I don't think there's going to be a mindset change or a mood change in this locker room until Staley's gone.
Yeah, I hate it for Chargers fan because that Rivers comment gets me, and he was supposed to be everything that he's supposed to be the guy that's Rivers and getting the dubs for him, which is crazy. And I hate it because you were so right about the loser DNA from the coach going into the team, because we got guys like Keenan Allen dropping 3rd and 8s on the 10-yard line that could set us up for 7. Quentin Johnston, now they're calling him a bust, but that drop was insane. And that drop is crazy, but he's catching balls that aren't called in bounds, that are insane catches in like the first or second quarter, and dropping that. It's like, what is going on out here? And it was a quarterback show for a little bit. I haven't seen Herbie get loose like that with his legs. I've seen him run. We know he can move a little bit, but he was shaking guys, not going down easy. Like you could tell it meant a little something for him. And Jordan Love was diamond. I mean, he found Chris Ross in the corner of the end zone, that one ball that he had picked out in his head for like 5 seconds. Keeps finding Romeo Dobbs in these like clutch touchdown passes. And we highlighted Jordan Love on that one game when they played the Birds and they only scored 3 points. And we caught some hate for calling him real. But time and time again, I think Jordan Love tends to be seen as the guy in Green Bay. And this is a win that you said, for the Bears. I don't know if the Packers really wanted to win this game, but it was fun. We'll take the dub and we see what we can get out of Jordan Love.
So my question is like, what do you do with Jordan Love? If you're a Packers fan, do you want to mail it in, start over, and draft a new quarterback, or do you continue to give the guy the keys and see if he's the guy? Like I think, 2 weeks ago, I think it was pretty clear that he wasn't the guy, and then he's had back-to-back, dare I say, just competent games. He looked outstanding yesterday. I know the Chargers defense is bad, but he looked great. I think it was his first career 300-yard game, and you got to give credit where it's due. He's doing this with a supporting cast of rookies. Dontavian Wicks is a rookie. Jaden Reed's a rookie. Romeo Doubs is a second-year player. Musgrave, rookie. I mean, what he has to work with here is, I think a lot other young quarterbacks or, first-year starter quarterbacks have more to work with than what he does. They're winning games. They're 4-6, and I know this sounds insane, but like if they can squeak out a couple of gritty wins, I mean, anything can happen. They play the Vikings late in the year. I think this last spot in the NFC is still open after the Vikings lost last night. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying it's not completely insurmountable where this team is going to be fired up. They have at least some goal for the rest of the year. And I think if you're Jordan Love, man, like the door is now open for you to get another shot as the starter next year. 100%. I think that door was damn close to shutting a couple of weeks ago, and I think he's back in. I think they're going to turn it back over to him next year, and the jury's still out. But I think if you're a Packers fan, you got to at least have that weird optimism of he looked pretty good. Our team is very young. We didn't expect to win this game. Let's just keep it rolling and enjoy our victory Monday.
Let's remember when he got drafted too. Talking about Jordan Love, like the shock that everybody had. Still Aaron Rodgers' team. Why are we drafting a quarterback this early? And so I'm on the side of if you drafted him then, obviously had faith in him then. Like you got to keep it now. You can't go away with it. And like you said, back-to-back good games. I think you got to just trust it. You guys trusted him when you drafted him so early to kind of put what everybody said in the media is, pushing Aaron Rodgers back on his heels. Are you done in Green Bay? Are you not good enough anymore for Green Bay? So I think you got to trust it with Jordan Love. A couple like quick notes I would state here is how about Stone Smart on that catch, but not even just the catch and run and the touchdown. What a fucking awesome name that is. Stone Smart. That's number one. And then number two, like feels really bad for Quentin Johnston. Last night and this morning, I don't know if you guys are seeing all over social media when he got drafted saying, well, hey, mom, my mom's done working. She's putting her 2 weeks in. You're done. And all these guys are just like putting like gifs and videos of his mom, like dropping like Indeed.com, like get another, like it's just awful stuff. But again, that's the game right there. If you catch that pass,
so perfect.
And he'll figure it out. I do. It's going to take 2 good games for him to get his confidence back again. I just spent 5 minutes, ranting about how the resurgence of Jamison Williams and what it's done for the Lions. I think Quentin Johnston will figure it out, but I really do believe until Staley is fired, I think there's this dark cloud of just loser just hanging over this team, and it's infecting everybody. So get rid of Staley, and good things happen from there.
100%. Let's head over to our Sunday night game. Actually was a fun primetime game.
I was so excited. Okay? Dobbs on primetime. Come on. I was actually excited.
Dobbs on primetime. He was plus 270 to score, and he did that. We also look at somehow the Broncos were favored in this game as 2.5-point favorites, but they don't cover that. They do get a late game-winning drive.
Really important to
kind of a duck throw, but a great catch by Courtland Sutton in the back of the end zone. The Broncos win this one 21-20, home at Mile High. We see one of the sickest beats we've ever seen out of the Discord and the moonshot. What do you got, Kenny? We got a good game from Dobbs. Not a great game on the ground from the Broncos, but damn, they found a way to get it done.
Hey, this Broncos team into what?
Four in a row.
Four straight, and against what? Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Vikings. I mean, three of those four are exceptional wins. There's just something happening. There's something brewing in Denver right now, man. This game hurt a lot. It hurt my soul. Easily the toughest L I've taken this year. We had Jerry Jeudy, 30 receiving yards in each half. Again, the market that we've fallen in love with, and he had 30 on the dot. 30 on the dot. I think he had 19 yards in their last drive before halftime to get us to 30. So like when that happens, you're like, look, like I think the hard part's over. He got us to 30. You're gonna keep feeding him in the second half, and then I think on their first or second drive, he got 28 yards. So he had 5 catches for 58 yards like the entire second half. And then he had that touchdown drop that was like a 5-yarder in the bucket, and then I don't think he was targeted the rest of the game.
He wasn't.
That one hurt. That one certainly hurt a lot. I had Vikings money line too, so that really hurt. But you could just see the writing on the wall, man. I mean, the Vikings had complete control of this game. They go up 17-9 in the third quarter, and then it's a fumble, interception, field goal, turnover on downs. I'll say this, even as a Vikings money line holder, the game was, at least it was within my grasp a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I bet the Vikings, and 2 minutes into the game, if I had the option to cash out, I would have.
Oh my God.
That opening drive, that weird pitch they ran to Dobbs when he just got his shit rocked.
Ugh.
Hold on. You're telling me that our franchise quarterback just tore his Achilles in the middle of the season, and we have struck gold with this miraculous journeyman that is having this career resurgence with us. yeah, let's run the tight end pitch to the QB on the first drive of the game and literally get him absolutely
First the Broncos.
Right to the med tent, bro.
Just got blown the fuck up. How are you putting him in that position? And the first question I had was, does he lose some of the protections that quarterbacks get when he gets pitched the ball and immediately becomes a runner? Like, I think he does. So you're putting him in danger for no reason whatsoever on your opening drive. Like, at that point forward, the Vikings deserve to lose this game. I'm surprised that they hung in it as long as they did. But these NFL coaches, man, I scratch my head. Like, you just watch Kirk Cousins blow an Achilles. Yeah, let's run the tight end pitch to Dobbs on our first play. Like, what are we doing?
He was cracked.
It's one of the few that one and then the other game, but McVay got Stafford killed on the flea flicker that we just watched on Saturday. Was the same play. Like, some of these coaches are really trying to be college coaches, which is insane. I saw people talk. I actually want to get your opinion on this because I saw people getting kind of loud on the Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year tickets. I think he was sitting around plus 800, plus 1,000. That has to be dead now. Like, that has to be dead now. That was just disgusting. Like, and also one more thing. Could be a little overstating, but at the end of the game, Samaje Perine off the backfield, catching those passes, leading the Broncos on the field. I was getting some remnants of like James White. Sorry, Falcons fan, but the drives, the OT to lead the pass back. Like, it was nice to see Samaje Perine doing his thing. I do feel happy for us. It's something about Sean Payton. Did he break these boys down to build them up? Like, I don't know what's going on. I was kind of out on him. He was loud on Hackett. I thought he was going to get it too. He's doing kind of everything Hackett said he was going to do. I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on it. He might have built these boys down and break them to build them back up. I don't know.
I mean, dude, ever since Miami hung 70 on him, like the most embarrassing game ever, like this defense has completely turned it around. Just in their last 5 games, they gave up 19 to the Chiefs, 17 to the Packers, 9 to the Chiefs, 22 to Buffalo, 20 to Minnesota. Like, it's tough to score on this team right now, man. Especially again in Mile High, they have a tough place to play. It's that altitude makes it just it makes that much of a difference. But dude, this team has a lot of swagger right now. You've got Sean Payton, who was in the process of like the most embarrassing comeback for a coach like that I could remember. I mean, the amount of hype that this team had. So good for the Broncos, good for him, and good for Russ, man. I've never been a big Russ guy. I don't think he's one of the more like beloved QBs in the league. He's a little weird, but he has played solid this entire year. Even when they were what 1-5 to start the year, and none of that was on him. I mean, he came out of the gates playing some pretty good ball. It's just their defense was like historically one of the worst defenses the first 6 weeks of the year, like of all time. And they've turned it around and they're winning games. Broncos country, let's ride. On the Kevin O'Connell front, I think if Minnesota won this game and continued to win some games, the argument's there. I mean, we had a conversation last week about Dobbs, comeback player of the year. I don't really see it. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole again. The O'Connell coach of the year, I think, made a lot of sense. Like, you're telling me that you got this guy ready and prepared at that clip. I think he was in contention. And then the second they ran that tight end pitch, just the tickets were shredded. Tickets are shredded. You can't be the coach of the year and do that. There's just no way.
You're talking about the quarterback of the Broncos. What's he say? Mr. Unlimited. I want to touch on, too, the pressure from this Broncos D-line. Let's also remember, and not forget, if Kirk Cousins was in this game as a pocket passer that he is, he would have been killed. The fact, the amount of plays that Dobbs was able to be elusive and get out of trouble, turn something into maybe a 2-yard game or a 3-yard gain, something that was not what Kirk Cousins does. Look once. What did Chris Collinsworth say in the broadcast? Look once, look twice, look 3 times, and throw it away. Dobbs was look once, look twice, look 3, and then let me just get out of here and see what I can do and make something out of nothing. And he was able to do that. But if you look at the sacks that were coming late at the end of the game when Dobbs was getting absolutely shredded in the pocket, the only thing I was thinking was if Kirk Cousins was here, I mean, the game, I don't even know how many points the Vikings would have been put up because it would have been, 3 and out, sack after sack after sack.
Dude, I think D lines across the board, I feel like just get better and faster and stronger every single year. Like, I was trying to just look back, like, all right, it's been the year of the under. What's caused that, right? Why is that? There's a lot of bad quarterback play out there, but I think a large part of this is just driven by, dude, like, defenses are just better, and I think the backbone of these defenses is their pass rush and their D line. I mean, D line has become the most important position on the field right now, and to your point, I think going forward, if you're a quarterback in the NFL, I think there is just a minimum requirement of mobility. Like, you just absolutely have to have. I think unless you're like, the rare exceptions, because you look at all of the, you look at the playoff picture right now, look at the quarterback of each of these teams. All of them have some mobile ability, with the exception of like Jared Goff and I don't know, like even Purdy, I think is enough. Like Purdy can do enough outside the pocket just to stay alive. And it just shows, man, the days of the pocket passer, I think, are long gone. It's a new league. It's a speed driven league. And I think if you want to be a quarterback in the NFL right now, like you don't have to be like Lamar Jackson fast, but you have to have just enough athleticism and enough mobility to be able to extend plays against these D lines that continue to get more elite and more dangerous every single year. So it's the changing of the guard. We've seen it coming. I mean, again, you look at just, some of the quarterback play over the last couple of years, but I agree. I mean, I think Kirk Cousins is a tremendous quarterback, but like, this is one of those weird games where like, I think you needed Dobbs to keep you in this game more than Kirk Cousins. Not to say that Dobbs is a better quarterback, but I think he was better suited to keep them in this game. Again, until they ran the tight end pitch and almost killed him.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on that, just because, I mean, even just looking at the first team that comes to mind, the team in the Bay that just got Chase Young added to the line. I mean, that's another scary line. Manny was talking about it last week, saying, we're doing all this just to get the fucking Jalen Hurts to the playoffs? Really? Man. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, let's head over to some quick predictions. I want to hear what you got on this game on your team, both of you guys, and the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-1, heading to the Super Bowl rematch, only it's in Arrowhead this time against the 7-2 Chiefs. Are the Eagles going to move to 9-1 and stay on top of the entire NFL, or are they going to now move to 8-2 with the Chiefs and the Lions as well? What are your initial thoughts here, Kenny?
It's going to be a great game. I don't like being too confident, but man, I have a hard time not buying into the Philadelphia Eagles tonight. I just think they're hungrier. Obviously, you're coming off the Super Bowl L, so the motivation is going to be there. They're less distracted. Nobody on our team is dating a world famous pop star. And like when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, you're talking about football. You're talking about wins. You're talking about results. We're talking about the Chiefs. You're talking about Taylor Swift. I think that it's like a legit distraction. This team is fired up. You have a healthier Jalen Hurts, a little more fresh off the bye. Cam Jurgens is fresh. I think the Eagles win this game outright. I think they're the better team. I think on paper they grade out better than the Chiefs, top to bottom. And I do believe you're getting a preview of the Super Bowl right now. I feel like every week I'm making new predictions, but I can't continue to I can't die on the Cincinnati Bengals hill without Joe Burrow. So unfortunately, right. We are back.
You're right.
It's going to be Eagles Chiefs in the Super Bowl. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. Eagles get it done tonight. I really believe that. If you want one pick, I'll give you one. I already put it out in the Discord. It's simple. You don't have to overthink it. Click it one time, move on, enjoy the game. Just bet Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown. In no universe should Jalen Hurts be plus money to score a touchdown. I mean, look, he's your goal line running back, and you look at what the typical touchdown price is for an RB1 on a great team that it's usually like, minus 115, minus 120. Okay, what about an RB1 with 25 TDs in his last 27 games? Like that's like McCaffrey numbers, but you're getting McCaffrey at minus 220. How in the world are you giving me Jalen Hurts at plus 120? Just click it, bet it, hammer it, and then don't bet anything else. Just bet Jalen Hurts.
I love it. I'm on the same page too, because I don't really I get what the odds makers are saying, but like, come on now, like I don't really see a world where the Birds lose this game. Only time I can see it is because the Chiefs defense have been good this year. They've been very good. If it turns into that kind of defensive kind of grueler and it's close at the end and Patrick Mahomes can kind of do his thing, they might be able to sneak that one out. But I love the Birds in this spot. Just hungrier. Couple injuries that might be a little concerning, but I think the bye was massive. I don't think people are really talking about us coming off the bye like that, which how banged up we were going to the bye is just too big for us. I do have a question. Primetime streak of unders. 2 capable, I'd say, quarterbacks. I'm not really quick to say offense with the Chiefs. Will we see a primetime over or a primetime prop gold mine game possibly, Kenny?
If we don't get it tonight, we're never going to get it.
We're never going to get it.
It has to be tonight. And look, I feel like everyone's been saying this before, a lot of the primetime games this year, and it's just been, we felt legitimately cursed. But it's 45.5. It's the Eagles and the Chiefs. I know both defenses are great, but the offenses are better. Mm-hmm. We're so long overdue for that just ridiculous 45-41. Everybody goes over.
It's a great outlier spot.
And I'm fully confident. If this game is a dud and it's 21-20 birds, like I might not bet a single player prop the rest of the NFL season, because if this game can't go over, then no game can go over. But I'm with you, man. I think we finally break the streak of primetime unders. And look, it's not that I can't see any path to the Chiefs winning. I think 2.5 is a fine number. I think it's going to be a great game, but if gun to my head, man, give me the Eagles, give me the points. I think they're more fired up, and I think they got a little more juice to play with tonight. Jalen Hurts to the fucking moon.
You also have to assume that everybody and their goddamn mothers are going to be on Travis Kelce at -120 to get in the end zone.
Probably.
I haven't seen that in a little while. Yards have been down. Usage has been down. We need Taylor Swift is not going to be in attendance. She's still on this tour. So, but if she was, then it was going to be a lock. But I think I'm just saying that as somebody that may be looking to take Travis Kelce to get in the end zone.
And even at 125, like that feels like a fair, like him at 125 feels like a good number. And then Hurts, like early in the year, he was -115, -120 for a few games, which in my opinion is the fair price. And I wouldn't bet him at that price. I don't get how he's +120. He's got touchdowns in 4 in his last 5 games on a bum knee. They're not going to not continue to do the tush push because it's automatic. And it's like, I think this game probably decides who the favorite is for the MVP going forward. I mean, if the Eagles win this game, Hurts is the MVP favorite. If the Chiefs win and Mahomes looks like the god that he is, I think Mahomes is the favorite.
Kenny, I'm sorry, bro. I was watching the Texas game yesterday, and they had a graphic come up about the MVP race, and it was Tyreek Hill, CJ Stroud, and I want to say it was Pat Mahomes. So they're missing someone from the Eagles there, right? Like at least AJ or Jalen Hurts. Like I don't what is that? What is that?
And after tonight, when the Eagles win and Hurts looks like the god that he is, I don't think people are going to be making that mistake going forward. Look, I love CJ Stroud. We've talked about the Texans a bunch. He's awesome. He's going to run away and win Offensive Rookie of the Year by a landslide. He's not the MVP. Like we can pump the brakes there. He's playing really good. He's not the MVP. Tyreek, they've cooled off a little bit. I don't know. Like those video game numbers have just ever so slightly have slightly tapered off here. I think it's going to come down to either it's going to be Mahomes or it's going to be Jalen Hurts. And again, this game could swing those odds in a big way depending on how it pans out.
100%.
A Super Bowl rematch tonight, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Kenny, thanks for joining us for Week 11. We will see you in Week 12. Have a great Thanksgiving. Excited to hear about the turkey bets. And the success that you have on the 3-game slate on Thursday, Thanksgiving.
I'm pumped, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Always a pleasure. Go Birds.
Hell yeah.
Go Birds, baby.
Tonight, baby. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO and founder of The Moonshot, our Monday guy, Kenny McAndrews. Very nicely done, sir. Thanks for another great week. Let's keep it rolling here in Week 11. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Keep it rolling with those ratings. Appreciate you guys. All right, AFC North matchup in Cleveland. The Browns win this one 13-10 without Deshaun Watson. Like done for the season. Steelers in a good spot. Both 6-3 teams, but the Browns get the best set of Steelers. The Matt Canada Steelers and moved to 7-3 in this 13-10 win. What do you got here? We saw Jalen Warren, Najee Harris talking about it. Like, see what Najee Harris is saying at the end of the game, saying like the reporters are asking him, did they know what plays are coming? He takes a long pause and it's like, I mean, like. Yeah, sometimes it felt like they knew what we were calling. Mm-hmm. Like, what is going on there? I just got Najee for a trade in fantasy. Terrible week to have that happen. What do you got here in the Browns, man?
This is a massive win for the Cleveland Browns.
Defense.
Like, unbelievable. DTR comes in, does what he has to do. We moved to 7-3.
Good for the kid.
Drone 4 was moving. We were doing our thing. So we had a little post, right? We were talking about Steelers offense and shit. And the Matt Canada haters came for us crazy. And not necessarily that we were saying that Matt Canada was a good OC. He had a couple good weeks. We were just trying to see where y'all were at. And now we completely see where y'all are at. Now, it is the Cleveland Browns. It is the best defense in football, understandably. But there was absolutely nothing out of water bug Jalen Warren for this offense. And I think for the Steelers, I mean, listen, this isn't a backbreaker loss at all. You guys are going to find a way. There's somehow, some way with Mike Tomlin, you guys are going to find a way. But this was just a game, I feel like, with how the North race was ending up, it was almost like a layup. Like, we're moving. Deshaun Watson gets hurt. Hope you're okay. But we get DTR. We can, and this was in Cleveland, right?
This was
a game at Cleveland. Like, we could just steal this one again, and we're really not supposed to win. And the Matt Canada offense was just in full of. I just don't know. I might be with y'all. I'm gonna be watching this train closely because now it's kind of making me like, what can you really say about Kenny Pickett?
Not good things. Okay.
But Matt Canada. Oh shit.
Okay, you guys want to go there? Undrafted free agent of the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, Tommy DeVito has more career games than Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett with multiple passing touchdowns. You're telling me that Kenny Pickett only has one? And now in back-to-back weeks, Tommy DeVito, Syracuse undrafted free agent, has two. And you're going to tell me that that's your quarterback? We're the Matt Canada guys now. Because that's not my quarterback. That certainly better not be your quarterback. Get out of here, Kenny Pickett. Goodbye.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you yet. I'm just ready. I like Kenny, and I'm ready to say it's not his fault till we get Canada out of there. The jury's not out yet. There was one funny thing I saw too about this game. Steelers helmet was on the ground, and Myles Garrett picked it up.
When you went there,
and they ran over.
They said, "Hey, we're not having this again." They said, "We're not doing this again."
I was.
He said,
done.
"Give me that back."
I was done. I was like, everyone.
Man.
We are all good here. Everyone knows what the plot is. We're not letting that happen again.
Oh man. God, that Mason Rudolph, man. His skull's probably still got an indent. That's so disrespectful. All right, to Thursday night. Quickly touching on Joe Burrow's season-ending injury. That was very tough to see. He was like hurt bad, and you could see the pain on the sideline, just trying to throw, trying to make some passes on the sideline. Saw a lot of speculations pregame when he's walking with that wrist brace into the stadium before this game in Baltimore. We're now seeing a possible investigation going with the NFL. Why was he not listed as injury on an injury report? And I saw some clips. I really just hate that I forget what show this is. Carson Carter show. I forget, and I apologize for that. But this guy I've seen multiple times on his clips explaining that Joe Burrow is actually hurt and he's going to get hurt in this game. Because of that video that he saw with his wrist. And he was exactly right on that. The Ravens are able to capitalize in this AFC North division without Joe Burrow leaving early in this game, 34-20. We saw a great game from Odell Beckham. He looks like some of these plays look very similar to his time and his tenure in New York. He did get banged up with the shoulder there. We'll see how that affects them down the stretch. But at 8-3, the Ravens look good. They look atop of this AFC North, obviously. And also, potential to go after this AFC as a whole.
Yeah, so with this Joe Burrow stuff, man, that had to be a brace, right? Because they're saying, we're not tweaking. All right, first and foremost, we're not tweaking. Now, there's something to be said about, I understand the start of the season, it was his calf, and now it's his hand. And that it's weird and ironic to think the end of the season is his hand or his wrist. Do we know... Could this been an injury that happened? Did his hand get messed up when his calf was messed up and he couldn't move around as well as he could have? You know what I'm saying? This is just a question that I had to ask as a fan speculating. How much of problems with this team came from him not sitting down at the beginning of the year with a lot of turmoil going on with the team?
Like Jamar Chase said.
I just something I had to say and just ask that question. Another thing with this game, Mark Andrews' injury looked terrible. The hip drop tackle, they say, gets another one.
They say that.
And I was watching the game live when Jordan Travis fell victim to the hip drop tackle because Florida State was down 13-0, and I thought this was a great live bet spot. Tuned in to watch Jordan Travis. I mean, and that's a legend in Florida State. Heartbreaking. Two really heartbreaking injuries.
Are you going to get rid of that tackle?
Yeah, because I'm not one to say you got to get rid of the hip drop tackle because it's sad because it seems like a play. Every time someone goes for a hip drop tackle, by the way, I cringe. I broke my leg on a hip drop tackle, by the way. So but you're asking, how the fuck you gonna get Mark Andrews down? You chasing him from the 5-yard line. All Mark Andrews wants to do is score. I can't, you know what I'm saying? Guys lose their job if they're in the film room getting called soft. They lose their job. They don't find a way to get them down. So it's really, and the Dallas Goedert tackle wasn't a hip drop, but it was similar. And we talked about it on the podcast, and I was kind of people were saying it was dirty, but I'm you got to get a 6'5", 250 guy down somehow, man. And I think it's going to be addressed in the offseason. I think they're going to change the rules. And I think it's tough because you do really got to protect these guys. I mean, it's claiming, every single year they probably already looked into it. But you got to wonder how much does this change the game, the targeting rules. Because it's becoming to a point now where the product's getting bad, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of it has to do with the physicality leaving. So I'm really interested in what you guys think. Like, I have a strong feeling they're going to address it, but I don't know if they should get rid of it. It's unfortunate to see how like people was claiming, but it's just a tough call on their end. I'm happy I don't have to make I'm happy I'm not in the meetings. I'm happy I'm doing this with you, and we're not in the meetings.
Damn straight about that. Just tough to see 2 season-ending injuries.
Yeah, the 2 iconic people.
But we can just highlight that we had a good primetime game.
Facts.
Besides, our Sunday night game and the injuries, it was a good primetime game. We will keep it pushing here to the Miami Dolphins in Miami hosting the Antonio Pierce Raiders, and they almost won 3 in a row, and they were trying really hard. And, as a Bills future holder, I've said on the show many times, they are the one team right now that is holding me out of that plus 5,000 cash. So I really wanted the Raiders to get this done. We'll get to the Bills in a little bit, but 20-13 for the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, again, he's just solidifying a top receiver in this league. Excited to see what our guy AJ Brown can do tonight. But a very sloppy win. We talk about a bunch of sloppy games. Sloppy win for the Dolphins here. They're able to get it done and celebrating every win you can get. It's hard to win in this league, but moving to 7-3 on top of this division now by 2 games against the Bills. This is looking like it's going to be a Miami Dolphins AFC East once we conclude this season.
This was a big W for the Dolphins considering what's going on in the AFC East and the fact that, listen, you got the AP-led Las Vegas Raiders coming in, and for some reason, Aiden O'Connell looks like a very competent. Low-key, Aiden O'Connell's having a less flashy Josh Dobbs run. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I'm proving myself as a starter a little bit. I can have it. I don't know if he's going to start next year. Good for them, though. The touchdown that Tyreek Hill had just proves time and time again that he's really just not human. Like, on a slant, he catches the ball between 5 people, and I don't know how time and time again he just blitzes off between everybody like that. I am a little concerned about the Dolphins because when we talked about them a couple weeks ago, I did say that addition of Jalen Ramsey could be the X factor, this and that. I'm not saying the defense looked bad, but ever since that week, it has not been the same Dolphins juice. Now, I don't know if they get concerned. A win is a win is a win is a win in this NFL. And when it comes down to seeding and home field and how things are going to shake out in this AFC, you'll take them how you can get them. But, I mean, I think there's 4 teams in the AFC that look better. I think probably 3 is a safe number. They might be that 4 slot right now, but we need to see these guys go up a little bit at the end of the season because it's a little concerning, just a little bit.
We also have to shine light on their pickup in the offseason, who was out for the majority of this season, now comes back, and that's number 5, Jalen Ramsey, with not 1, but 2 big athletic diving interceptions. This guy's unreal, and we can see why they bought into that Jalen Ramsey hype. And got him onto yet again another winning culture and a winning franchise now. Just spectacular play yesterday against this Raiders team and taking 2 of the 3 interceptions on that stat sheet for Aiden O'Connell. But again, you're right. Dolphins did not look as good as they should have and could have yesterday against the Raiders team that, again, is trying to find the culture of where they are. We're after this new coach, again, we're now, I guess, almost 4 weeks into it, still trying to figure out where they are, who they are, and how they can continue the rest of the way through this season. And this is a game where, I could have seen the Dolphins winning this one by almost 3 scores. So, promising for the Raiders for sure. I'm not going to shit on them as much as I was against the Giants.
We didn't know I was that passionate.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently it's my fault again. But now that'll be a good segue into the Giants. The New York Football Giants complete the season sweep 2-0 against the Washington
New York Giants
Commanders.
completing a season sweep is fucking insane.
Oh my God.
I never thought I was going to say the Giants.
How is that possible? Great defensive play, 31-19 over the Commanders. Deonte Banks goes on Instagram Live in the locker room. Grew up in Maryland. Starts talking about the Commanders, saying, you guys could have had me at 16. Fuck the Commanders. Look what I did to you there. And he said, "What? How did 17 do? How did 17 play today?" Banks were fucking closed. A very nice play out of the young rookie. And, look at this Giants team, man. One of the things that made me laugh a little bit was, Brian Dable at the end of the game in the locker room was like, "Hey, look, we're no doubt about it. We're a good football team. Let's not get it twisted." I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but you can say that they're a good football team because they played with a Tommy DeVito quarterback. And now we're into a third-string quarterback. And also, got to give a lot of credit to this defense. Kayvon Thibodeau and Dexter Lawrence are the real deal on this defensive front. Kayvon Thibodeau now 10.5 sacks on the year with 2 yesterday. It's just unbelievable. Isaiah Simmons with the pick 6 to end this game. There's a lot of things to be happy about on the defensive side and Wink Martindale's defense. Hopefully they can keep him after this long year. But I mean, like once this team can figure out an offense and figure out this offensive line and get that side of the football correct, this team's going to be a lot more fun to watch because this defense is very spectacular under Wink Martindale. Also great to see Saquon Barkley, 2 touchdowns, 83 yards. Just happy to see these guys get a win and have some fun and enjoy the game and enjoy the season.
Saquon Barkley was moving. The defense looked insane. Like just turnover after turnover. Sam Howell. I was talking about how we couldn't sack Sam Howell, but y'all could a little bit, and we're getting to him a little bit.
Damn, 9 times.
Yeah, goddamn. So maybe it's not just, maybe it was just us. One play that I thought was crazy from this game when Sam Howell had my respect as a dog. I know y'all won the game, but it was like that play where he was trying to scramble it on the 1 yard line, got hit like 3 times, like the scrum happens. I was like, we got a little bit of real football going on.
Over here,
Things you like to see on a Sunday. They got some real football going on. A question I had to ask you, because I'm not saying they have gotten y'all ass beat bad with DeVito, bad. Yeah. But have you guys looked this good with Daniel Jones this year? Like I'm just asking the question. In your opinion,
I would have liked to see what Daniel Jones would have done in this game.
Because I have a theory.
Daniel Jones has not had a lot of passing touchdowns this year before the injury.
Not at all.
Now we're looking at a guy. An undrafted free agent still living at home with his parents from Syracuse. And, we're getting a little celebration. Hey, how you doing? With the, with the touchdown celebration. But again, 3 touchdowns, damn near 250 in the air, no turnovers. Who in the right mind was expecting that out of this guy who was a sure thing before the beginning of this season? Never going to touch the field besides maybe preseason. So I have to give a lot of credit to Tommy in this spot. But again, I've been a Daniel Jones backer, and the problem is, like, for the longest time, I've been saying it, like, squeaking it in there a couple times this season. I don't know if Daniel Jones would have made that deep throw. I don't know if he would have put it in the bread basket like maybe Tyrod Taylor was doing earlier in the year. And again, I'm now squeaking another comment in. I don't know if Daniel Jones would have had 250 and 3 touchdowns in the air with 0 turnovers. I really don't think that would have been the case. So again, a lot of credit that's being given there.
Like what I was getting at with the Daniel Jones thing is, like, I'm not even if he doesn't throw for 253 yards, I'm saying the Giants team, like when Daniel Jones was the quarterback, we had clips that guys not blocking.
Yeah, fair.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying, like, I don't think the Giants have looked as good as a whole 52-man unit with Daniel Jones being in. And I think I don't know, this could be incorrect. I don't know what happens in that building. But when I think Giants, I think Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And when I think their leader, when I think who galvanizes that team, when you see guys pumping them up, who talks in the huddle before the games, it's Saquon Barkley. The kids walk around I'm sure there's Daniel Jones jerseys, but kids walk around the stadium with Saquon Barkley jerseys on. I think some people on that roster had a problem with DJ getting that money and not Saquon. I really do. Guys were not blocking, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? The team has not looked nearly this good with Daniel Jones being in the game. And maybe it does take Tommy DeVito he snapped. When your backup quarterback is snapping like that, like, it gives guys a different energy first.
A lot of good throws. And I do really like that take, too.
But I just don't know. How they feel about DJ in that building. I would be interested in that.
Yeah, me too. And it's funny how we talked about last week the possible, possibility of getting 2 of those quarterbacks, and then we have this young gun and this undrafted guy that comes out here and balls out.
They love him.
I saw some report on Twitter. Who knows if it was bullshit or not? Just saying, like, it's a possibility that Daniel Jones and Brian Day will be back next year. Love to see that actually.
There's a lot of money invested.
But we shall see as the weeks progress in this NFL season. Over to another NFC East team, the Dallas Cowboys. After a beatdown of the Giants last week, Head to Carolina against the now 1-9 Carolina Panthers. They get this done 33-10. Got to give a lot of credit to this defense. There's been a lot of weeks in this year and a lot of games in this year where this defense is finding ways to get a pick six or a fumble return for a touchdown, something like that. And I'm only like highlighting that because I have that defense on fantasy. So getting a 20-point, 25-point, showing from the defense on fantasy is obviously very exciting. Again, not much needed from Dak in this game. The plus 10.5 for the Panthers looks really, really good for like the longevity of this game. And somehow Panthers just going to Panther, and they find a way to not cover and lose this one 20-23. Again, finally, we bitch about these guys. Last week, we bitch about Tony Pollard not getting in the end zone. What does he do? He gets in the end zone. I don't have a lot on this game. It's just, again, I've been saying it all year. Dallas is really, really good against the good teams, and they are against the bad teams. Yep. Dallas is really good against the bad teams, but they are really bad against the good teams. It's that simple. I don't see this team going far because they don't play the good teams good. I mean, yes, I'm using wrong words there, but that's it. They don't play the good teams good. It's that simple.
I mean, someone just hit a slow clap for the Cowboys. Like, this is the team we know. Oh, my God. We beat up on the Panthers. Some shit just gets old, man. Some shit just gets old. Good for y'all, though. Good W. One thing I had about this game when I was watching it, Bryce Young shouldn't have been in there, man. That boy was going to die. How many times did he get sacked? I had to be like 10 times, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if it was double digits. He was getting murdered. Like, this was actually a game where I think it was coaching malpractice by the time it was third quarter that he was still in the ball game. Like, that's just bad. Adam Thielen, welcome to the lock list. You're still here. Your spot is still secured. You have not gone anywhere.
Welcome to the lock list.
Week to week, this guy has been on the lock list. But this is the thing, how is Bryce Young supposed to progress? Because people were talking about C.J. Stroud and how much he looks like he's making a gap between the two, which can be respectful to say, but I mean, look at the difference between the two teams. I mean, this guy is getting pummeled, and the Texans actually look competent versus good competition, and a lot of that has to do with C.J. Stroud. But I'm just saying, this guy looks like he has a chance, and he's like 5'9", bro. Like, it just doesn't even look safe for him to be out there.
Even CJ said, he's in a struggling spot.
God.
He's in.
And that was his PR. That was his PR saying a struggling spot. Like, you know what I mean?
No, he's not in a right. That is 100%. He's probably like texting him, because they're boys. Like, bro, I feel bad for you, man. This sucks.
Fuck it.
Just keep your head down and keep grinding. Some of the
because we all see it.
Speaking of C.J. Stroud, we'll move over to C.J. Stroud. The now 6-4 Texans. Just thinking about them, I mean, they're just, who would have thought you'd be saying that they're this fun of a team to watch this year? Tank Dell connection, unbelievable. Dude. Again, running game, back-to-back weeks. Devin Singletary just snapping. They have figured it out on the offensive side of the ball with C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, and Devin Singletary. These guys have something here in Houston other than a baseball team. I'm never going to lose that quote. They win this one 21-16. Fuck that baseball team. That's exactly right. 21-16 over the Cardinals. This guy, I don't know if you guys all saw that stat, but C.J. Stroud had more passing yards at 259 in the first half than any other team playing at the time at 1 p.m. in those 1 p.m. games. Good win for the Texans, moving to 6-4. How many times are we going to say now, who would have thought this team was going to be like 500 or more than 500, 2 games above 500? Let alone just being 500 after 10 weeks of football. Good win, Houston, and good win, C.J. Stroud. Yeah,
this was a personal favorite game for me in the 1 o'clock window. We got our guy Call of Duty Kyler coming back from his break. I hope he enjoyed the game. Going to play C.J. Stroud, who's a great friend of the show. And I love to watch Jonathan Gannon lose football games. This was a perfect storm for me at 1 o'clock. And then, can I add? Tom McCarthy was calling the game. I was chilling. This was easily my favorite game at 1 o'clock sleep.
That's the Phillies announcement for nobody.
Facts for all y'all who don't know. Our guy Tom does call football too. What a pleasant surprise that was. But Kyler Murray comes on the jump. That was a dime to Rondale Moore. And the first thing I thought of when I saw that, not like it was a whale, but this obviously was a game where you had to remember the longest pass props?
Yep.
This was a game where you gotta have that thing. Yeah. And Kyler Murray, C.J. Stroud, I gotta start looking back into that market. The Texans just keep it moving though. Obviously, which is the one you wanted to have. It looks a little slight versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals look like they have a little bit of a new energy with Kyler coming back, which I didn't think I would say. As I thought it was a Joshua Dobbs thing. It might just be a little different in that building right now. Have to take my guy McBride off the lock list for now. Had scratch on him. Kyler liked everybody. It might have been match dependent last week. It was good to see James Conner moving. But this was another one where those Texans wins where it's like gritty. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't real pretty. I think there were some turnovers. Kyler looked decent. Both defenses looked pretty good. CJ Stroud finds a way to win football games. And that's something that he does. I think he had another quote after the game that I forget what the fuck it was. But he seems to win these close games. Say a quote after the game, put it on Twitter, and like the CJ Stroud like chord is just growing. And I'm here for it. And I love it.
Hey, let's shine some light too. I shined some light on Stone Smart on that name. It's kind of on that same wavelength. How about the jerseys in this game?
Dude.
White jerseys. Love the white helmets at Arizona.
People were hating.
Love the jerseys out of Houston. And those like little like red kind of fade mesh into that like navy blue. That was pretty cool too. I like the jersey selections here but from both teams yesterday.
What the fuck Tank Dell too on that touchdown catch? Like what the fuck?
Dude, I'm an idiot. I traded him for a fucking second round.
You traded Tank Dell?
Dude, you know what? So I felt like in a dynasty league. Felt like I couldn't use him. I know, stupid. I felt like I couldn't use him from the other guys that had on my roster, and he was hurt, and I had to make a decision. And now we're seeing back-to-back weeks, or 3 weeks in a row. It's just gone back to
I'm not gonna be that guy.
So I'm just hoping that with this second, I can find another guy like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but just tough.
RIP Tank Dell.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I love watching the connection, but now it just pisses me off more because I had the right read on this guy and it didn't work out. All right, moving on to an NFC killer that is now back after the bye. 2 weeks after the bye, back-to-back wins for this franchise. The 49ers in the Bay at home get a big win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 27-14, Mike Evans, we see get in the end zone. That was nice. But, hey, Brandon Ayuk, great fucking throw. Brock Purdy right in the breadbasket and a long run, 78 yards from Brandon Ayuk. One of his 5 catches on the day for 156 and a touchdown. Got him in a lot of fantasy leagues, so that was fun to see. A CMC, getting on the horse again. I mean, it's now again a week where we can say, wait a minute, are we going to start that 16 and 17 game streak again? Back in the end zone. Good win, 49ers.
So this is only listed on some books. I think Barstool, which is now ESPN Bet, list this bet, and I think Bet365 lists this bet for people not to score. So do we add CMC to the lock list?
Damn.
Dude, is it time to start a dialogue
on
CMC being on the lock list and not score? I do like seeing Ayuk get off. It's weird because it seems like to be at the expense of Deebo Samuel, who is one of my personal favorites. But I mean, if it's making Brock Purdy look better and making his offense run better, I'm cool with it. I'm not too concerned with this loss here with the Buccaneers. It was a big get right spot for the 49ers the last couple of weeks. I don't know if you saw this Vegas line, but it was 13.5, I believe. And you get a good old backdoor cover.
Of course you do.
With the tud to end on 13. So sorry if you had that 13.5. Happy for if you had the Buccaneers plus 13.5. 49ers fans, you guys can continue to be that second little brother in the NFC, and then you and the Cowboys fans can continue to duke that out for who the second best is.
Well, we got to give it to him because beating them by, damn near 50.
Yeah, the Cowboys, they're going to do what they're going to do. The Cowboys fans going to say what they're going to say. It's going to be a debate the rest of the year. I'm with you on that as well, but I'm just saying they're going to continue to have that debate. Y'all keep it pushing. Good for y'all.
Yeah,
Good W.
7-3 and trying to stay in that second spot here as, Dallas is competing, like you said. We'll go over to the AFC East in a big AFC East matchup. We remember in week 1 when this team, the Buffalo Bills, played this team, the New York Jets, at MetLife. And that walk-off punt return by a rookie in overtime to win the game. And Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and this Bills team, after last week's unbelievable disappointing loss on Monday Night Football on that field goal where we got too many men on the field. After a win, hey guys, we're going to meet you across the river. We're going to stay at home. You guys are going to come to us, and we're going to kick the doors in. Zach Wilson gets destroyed. We got multiple questions coming on in this QB room, in the locker room, in the coaching staff. What are we going to do with Zach Wilson the rest of the way? But a huge 32-6 beatdown in a huge divisional matchup. The Bills get to 6-5, and again, you guys are two. I said it earlier. 2 games back from the Dolphins. Keep winning. Next week's in Philly. and that's going to be a really tough one. So,
I mean, thank God they won this game,
dude,
because it's already loud, but it would have got ugly. And it was like the writing was on the wall for like kind of one of those ugly losses because of the way the last matchup went. I saw some posts on Twitter about where did Zach Wilson go. I don't know if you saw a little like compilation. They had like a Zach Wilson BYU tape going along. What happened to that guy?
The day he fooled us.
They said he was gonna be the one until he was messing with the Cougars. That's the allegations right now. It all took a left turn when he decided to do something like that. Again, big W for the Bills. I don't know. My opinion, I don't know if they're gonna pull through for you. I think they dug themselves too big of a hole. It's one of those stories where like it's like finally you want to look like the team you guys were supposed to look like the whole season. Like finally you want to put together. Finally defense is showing up. Finally we're getting other guys involved. The whole offense is getting moving. Like last week Josh Allen was running the ball a lot. This week it wasn't that much, but there was more balance in the offense. Khalil Shakir's getting off. Like only took 11 weeks.
Yep.
Should
have been a sweep against them. Against the rest of the season. That's another win. We got to find a way to win at home on prime time against the Broncos last week. That's another win. Now we're tied at 7-3.
What are we looking at for the rest? Can we look at the Bills schedule?
They have the hardest schedule the rest of the way.
Oh, nice.
So there's just no way. Nice. It's not happening. That's why I knew that. You know, you look down here. Look at this. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Pats, Dolphins. So you can solidify 2 wins right there. Oh my God! But again, that's
the wild card's chalked. I think possibly.
Dude, I mean, them being 5-5 going into this game,
I think it was two. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago that said to make the playoffs was -115 or something like that?
Yep.
It has to be way worse now. And they have to find like if they don't beat us, I think their game, which I'm scared of now, right? Because we have the Eagles. We have like a Super Bowl rematch, chip on the shoulder-esque big, massive game. Like we probably spent the whole bye week on this game realistically. You know what I mean? Probably gonna beat the shit out of the Chiefs tonight. Had the Bills coming in a game that is for their season, bro.
Dude.
That is going to be the biggest game of the Bills year. Like, if they do not win that game versus the Eagles next week, it's over.
Kiss the light, Dad.
It's over.
Like, kiss it goodbye.
I just made that game 10 times more interesting for me.
Another quick note before we move on here, last couple games, is we're seeing, again, time and time again, the Bills ambulance coming onto this field. And it is just getting too sickening at this point to see one team go through this many significant, severe injuries at, now this season again, we see it again. Taylor Rapp out on that ugly collision there, neck injury, stretchered, backboard off.
We got to stop paying to DeMar Hamlin when shit like that happens too.
It's sick. It's you talk about sickening. It
has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's like every time we see the ambulance out there, which is now more times than not, apparently at home with the Bills, we're now seeing panning to DeMar. And well, what do you think his reaction is going to be? Like what the fuck? Like obviously he's going to be torn to bits again because of his personal experience. I did skip one game here. We're going to jump back to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, 34-14 at home against the Titans. Hey, we saw, for the Titans' sake, we saw a nice throw from Will Levis to DeAndre Hopkins. Good connection there. We know it's there. But we also know that Calvin Ridley, welcome back. Okay? Welcome back, sir. 2 touchdowns. And Trevor Lawrence running one in himself. Big day for Trevor Lawrence. Big day for the Jaguars at now 7-3, just dominating in this division.
I saw a lot of people talking about Calvin Ridley on the internet, and I, like the Justin Fields bit I was talking about earlier, did not indulge. And of course he scores twice. And of course he looks absolutely amazing. Yep. For some reason, I was afraid of this Titans defense, but why would I be afraid of this Titans defense? Anyway, good for them, no. Duval, keep pushing, keep winning. In this ever-competitive AFC divisional matchup, slept on. These are not easy to win, but they made it look easy. And listen, like, we talk about teams like the Bills. This is why you handle your business early in the season. We had a couple losses where we were like, oh, Jaguars, we gonna be, and they just keep handling business. And I'm happy for them. My guys, my Duvalians down there, I'm not gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna say it. I will say it soon. It wasn't a big enough W for me to say it. But hopefully you guys keep me on board. I love Dougie P. I love what y'all doing. T-Law looks good. Everybody looks good. ETN looks insane. And that 1-2 punch the guy in the backfield with him and Dearness Johnson, I feel like it's extremely slept on. So I feel like there are 2 backs that, obviously Dearness Johnson is not ETN. But they kind of like run the same. Like it's kind of like the same look. And Dougie P has a way of finding these backfield tandems. He did it in Philly with like the Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount. Like he finds a way to get these tandems with his offenses that seem to just work. And his teams just work. Hey, my new volumes. Let's keep pushing, man.
And you still got we still got our Auburn guy, Tank Bigsby, back there.
Still had Tank Busy back there too.
Kenny did have that play as well.
It was Tank score.
Yeah, like it ended up being a cash out opportunity. Remember seeing that yesterday. Might have been like crazy value. I forget the number. 5,000, 50,000, some crazy odd value that he's able to go search and find. Okay, last game of week 11. Another divisional matchup in week 11. The Rams get a win here. I normally start these out with big win. Not going to say big win here. Why? Because Will Myers misses a 55-yard field goal just right to lose this game 17-16. The Rams take this divisional matchup. Again, here we start talking about teams that need these games starting at the mid to latter half of this season. And to put the Seahawks at 7-3, that's a game we got to get. Rams, we're still figuring out what's going on with the QB situation, how Matt Stafford is health-wise, picking up Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz and Matt Stafford running out of a locker room. Even just seeing Carson Wentz run out of an NFL locker room onto an NFL football field is wild to see. But again, this is a game the Seahawks have to have. Got to give a lot of credit here to Geno Smith. He fought some adversity getting hurt. I would have liked to see what would have happened in this game if he was able to stay in. That connection with DK Metcalf in back-to-back weeks looks really, really promising for the Seahawks team, but a really tough loss here.
Yeah, but a couple bad losses do not look really, really good for the Seahawks. In the NFC, that are actually becoming really competitive. Sean McVay, bro. How old is Matt Stafford? Isn't he like 38, 39? Like Sean McVay, bro. We got to keep our... They are putting him in harm's way on purpose, on a consistent basis. I talked about the flea flicker with Kenny on the show. He got killed through a pick. There was a plethora of other plays where it looked like Detroit Lions Matt Stafford out there dislocating his shoulder and still playing. And this man is 38 years old. We have to understand what we're working with. I think Matt Stafford could have been the Super Bowl couldn't have happened. Let me say it. And he could have been a little worse of a quarterback. I'd have put Matt Stafford in the Hall of Fame just off the toughness, bro. No other quarterback goes through what the fuck he goes through. That shit is not fair. Lucky you guys got with this win though, because I mean the final drive. I mean I feel like the Seahawks could have put together more, got a little better position, but Will Lutz missed the field goal. But fucking hey, the Rams still stay in the playoff race somehow. The Seahawks and the Rams are in the same spot now. Think about that. If we would have said that 3 weeks ago. Because didn't they play 3 weeks ago when the Rams were when the Seahawks were 4-1, 5-1?
Let's see.
This is just depressing.
I mean, it
was a promising year for the 12. We were 4-1.
First game of the season.
We were 4-1.
Well, I mean, the other thing I wanted to definitely state as well is another very disappointing week from Cooper Kupp. I know he got hurt. I know. I get it.
He might be on the lock list for unders, bro.
I get it.
Nah, he might be on the lock list.
It's very tough for a fantasy owner of Cooper Kupp, as a guy that when you draft him as a wide receiver 1 spot, and now he's just not. Puka Nacua, hey, that might be the guy now. And we saw the picture of him with Gunna, and you could see the fit. I don't know if you saw the picture.
I did.
You could see the Puka fit. Is that not like an LA fit?
Yeah,
he's really embracing that LA kind of culture.
Well, can we see who the Rams play next week? Because you're making a good point with Cooper, and I might want to add him to the lock list of unders.
But who knows? He's playing. They're in Arizona against the Cardinals.
No. Okay, that's like the grand jury game.
Yeah, but we don't even know if he's going to play yet.
Hey, we don't. Okay, but if Cooper plays, because the ankle, whatever, Cooper plays.
That would literally make it 5 straight weeks.
That's the grand jury game. If you can't hit it over versus the Cardinals, we are slamming his under versus the Browns, surely, right? He's added to the lock. Yeah. He's added to the lock list. So that's the grand jury game. Cooper, I know you don't give a fuck about this show, but we do, and we are watching you extremely closely next week.
We saw he started one of his own there with Matt Stafford. I saw that about a month ago. But okay, sorry about all that bullshit, guys. That is the conclusion of Week 11. Thank you for being here on YouTube. And if you did watch on YouTube. Make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you're not missing any new shows this NFL season. Our audio listeners, loyal listeners out there, Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we do appreciate the hell out of you. Give us those ratings. They do help us a long, long way. And if you do want to see our clips from this show and connect with us on social media, make sure to do so as well. Our Twitter is at ADED Podcast. Our Instagram is at ADED Pod. And our TikTok is simply the name of the show. It's been a fun week 11, as it always is with kiiLKenny. Hey, guys, have a great goddamn Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at the All Day Everyday Show. And that's if you've been listening and watching today with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Great Thanksgiving. We got a great Monday night game tonight. We'll see you next week in Week 12. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.